Okay, so what if I told you that the way most of us were taught to study is, well, it's just fundamentally broken? We spend all these hours, right, poring over our books, highlighting everything. But then the exam comes, and it's like all that knowledge just vanishes. Today, we're going to fix that. We are going to learn how to actually study before it's too late. So let's just start with a really tough question. Seriously, think about this. Are you wasting 80% of your study time? Because for most students, the answer is a pretty shocking yes. You might feel productive, you're putting in the hours for sure, but the results, they're just not matching the effort. Let's figure out why that is. I want you to picture this. Imagine a little stick figure, that's you, and you're trying to fill a bucket with water. Now, this water represents all the knowledge you need for your big exam. You're pouring and pouring, you're working really hard, but there's a problem, a big one. Your bucket is absolutely full of holes. And you know what? This is the perfect way to describe what happens when we study ineffectively. You spend all those hours cramming information in, but by the time the exam rolls around, most of that precious info has just leaked right out of your memory. It is so frustrating, right? And it's exactly why studying can feel completely pointless sometimes. So, what's actually causing all these leaks? Well, it really just comes down to a few key villains. These really common study habits that we've all been told are good, but are secretly sabotaging our efforts. It's time to unmask them. And here they are, the three biggest culprits. Number one, highlighting and just rereading your notes over and over. Number two, that all too familiar caffeine-fueled last-minute cram session. And number three, passively studying, just kind of letting the information wash over you without really engaging. They feel productive, but trust me, these are the holes in your bucket. Let's start with the most common one of all, rereading. How much do you think you actually remember just from reading your notes again and again? The answer is pretty brutal. It's just 10%. That's right. A single week after you reread a chapter, you have likely forgotten 90% of it. 90. This happens because rereading creates this dangerous trap in our minds called the illusion of competence. Your brain mistakes how easy it is to recognize the words on the page for actual mastery. But there is a huge, huge difference between recognizing something and actually being able to recall it. And that brings us to this absolutely crucial point. See, recognition is passive. It's just seeing something and thinking, oh yeah, I've seen this before. Recall, on the other hand, that's active. That's the ability to pull information out of your brain from scratch and actually explain it. And here's the kicker. Exams don't test recognition, they test recall. So what about cramming? We've all been there. But think of it this way. Your brain is a super smart, really efficient assistant. When you just force feed it a massive amount of information overnight, it literally treats it like junk mail. It sees that you're just trying to hold onto it for a little bit for the test, so it doesn't even bother storing it long term. It just gets tossed out. Okay, so we have identified the villains. We know the problem. Now it is time for the revolution. We need a complete shift in how we even think about studying. This isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter. And here is that game-changing shift in mindset. Retention is so much more important than consumption. Seriously, 1 hour of active retention work is way, way more valuable than hours of just passively consuming information. And this learning pyramid just illustrates the whole concept perfectly. Take a look at the bottom. These passive methods, like reading or listening to a lecture, they give you a measly 10 to 20% retention. But look at the top. Actively engaging, like practicing what you've learned or teaching it to someone else, that skyrockets your retention to 75%, even 90%. That right there is the game changer. Okay, so let's build your practical toolkit. We are going to arm you with some powerful, science-backed techniques that actually force your brain to hold on to information. Think of these as brand new weapons for your brain. The core principle behind all of this is something called active recall. The best way to think of it is like lifting weights before your brain. Instead of just looking at the information, you are actively pulling it out of your memory. And every single time you do this, you strengthen the neural pathway to that piece of information, making it so much easier to find the next time you need it. So how do you actually do it? Well, one of the best methods out there is the Feynman technique. It's so simple, but incredibly powerful. You just pick a concept and try to explain it in the simplest terms you can think of, like you're talking to a child. And those moments where you stumble or you have to say, those are pure gold. They show you exactly where the gaps in your knowledge are. Then you just go back, fill those gaps, and try again. Next up, let's fight back against the forgetting curve. You see, our brains are literally designed to forget things we don't use. Spaced repetition is the hack that tells your brain, hey, listen, this is important, keep it. So instead of one long marathon study session, you spread your review out over time. Learn it on day 1, do a quick review on day 3, and then test yourself a week later. It is unbelievably efficient. Now look, knowing all these techniques is one thing, but actually doing them consistently, that's the real challenge, isn't it? Procrastination and burnout are the real enemies here. So how do we make all this smart studying a real automatic habit?
We're going to use 3 really simple habit hacks. First, there's the 2-minute rule. Just start with 2 minutes of studying. That's it. It helps you beat procrastination. Second, habit stacking. You link your new study habit to something you already do, like studying right after you make your morning coffee. And third, the Pomodoro technique, which is amazing for avoiding burnout.
The Pomodoro technique is just fantastic, especially for those long study sessions. Instead of facing this daunting 3-hour block of time, you just commit to 25 minutes of focused work. That's all. Then you get a 5-minute break as a little reward. It breaks the marathon into these manageable sprints, and it keeps your brain fresh and engaged. And that brings us to the final, and maybe the most crucial point of all. The real secret to success isn't that one heroic all-night cram session. Nope, it's the small, consistent, smart effort you put in every single day. That is what builds real, lasting knowledge, and it beats that last-minute panic every single time. So, I'm going to leave you with this question. You have the toolkit now. You know the secrets to effective learning. So what's the very first technique you're going to try? Are you going to try the Feynman technique, spaced repetition, or maybe just start with one 25-minute Pomodoro session? Hey, if this explainer helped you patch up that leaky bucket of yours, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. That way, you'll never miss another game-changing tip to help you learn smarter, not harder. Now go on, go crush it.